Hi, New Life Church. Welcome to our TRAC Devo for the week as we have finished up the book of Song of Solomon in the Old Testament. And now we are heading over to the New Testament to the book of Mark. And wow, Mark starts off with a bang. As we start the first chapter, we read of how John the Baptist made way for Jesus. He started telling the crowds about the coming Messiah and to be looking for Jesus. Then we read about how Jesus called several of his disciples and they left everything to come and follow him. Mark also shares with us within the first couple of chapters several of the miracles that Jesus did. So Mark begins right away with talking about Jesus, but he lays a foundation, and this is where I want to go to, in verse 1 and verse 2. Before he even establishes all of this, before he starts talking about the miracles and the calling of the disciples and John the Baptist, he says these words in verse 1. This is the good news about Jesus the Messiah, the Son of God. So immediately, Mark lays the foundation for who he is writing about. He is writing about Jesus the Messiah, Jesus the Son of God. And so he lays this down and says, this is who Jesus is. And then he continues to write, tying the Old Testament into the New Testament when he pens these words. It began just as the prophet Isaiah had written, and then he goes on to quote from the book of Isaiah. And I think that is so cool how Mark ties in the Old Testament prophecies to what he is seeing fulfilled right there in his time, right before his eyes. You see, so many times we divide the Bible up into Old Testament and New Testament. Old Testament before Jesus, New Testament is the arrival of Jesus, and then going forward. But we need to remember that the Old and the New Testament is all one story. It's all God's love story from Genesis to Revelation. It's God telling us of his love for mankind, his forgiveness, his grace, his mercy, his desire to have a relationship with each and every one of us. And so while we divide it up, I really think it's just one big story of God's love for all of us. And you see, in the Old Testament, the prophets prophesied about Jesus. They told about the coming Messiah. And then hundreds of years later, here is Mark letting us know that this Messiah that Isaiah talked about is fulfilled right now when he establishes it in verse 1. This is the Messiah. This is the Son of God. And then he proceeds to tell us various accounts of Jesus. And I just think that is just so cool how it's one story from beginning to end. And we talk about this in kids' church all the time. We talk about how the Bible, while written by many different authors under the inspiration of the Holy Spirit, and that there are many different accounts in the Bible, many different victories and defeats that are recorded in here, many miracles that are talked about. There's a lot of information that God gives us in the Bible, but how it's all tied together. It's not just, let me read this account. Okay, it has nothing to do with anything else. And I'll read this one, and then I'll read this one. No, it's all put together as one story that God gives to us. And Mark is letting us know that everything that was prophesied in the Old Testament is now fulfilled in Jesus Christ, the Messiah, the Son of God. So as you read the book of Mark, know that Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. So the Jesus that Mark saw and listened to and witnessed to all the different miracles that Jesus did, that Jesus that walked on earth during the time of Mark is the same Jesus that's today. And while he doesn't literally walk on earth with us, there is the promise that he is with us each and every day. So as you read the book of Mark, I pray that you read it with anticipation, with eagerness. Lord, speak to me today, just as if I were walking in Mark's shoes and seeing and watching everything that you did. Speak to me today. May your words be alive to me. May what Mark wrote not just be words on a page, but may they be life to me as I read your word. So New Life Church, I pray that God speaks to you through the book of Mark and through what he wrote. Know that we love you, know that we care about you, that we are here for you. If you need us, please feel free to give us a call. Have a blessed week.